honored rabbis, Governor Rick Snyder, guest speaker Mayor Emanuel, honoree Mr. Bill Berman, distinguished dais guests, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight I begin by expressing the Yeshiva's heartfelt condolences upon the tragic passing this year of two of our most devoted leaders, Mr. I. William Scher and Mr. Emery Klein. Bill Scher and Emery Klein, both Yeshiva guardians and honorees, devoted their lives to uplifting and encouraging their families, their community, and the Jewish people. May their souls be bound up in the bonds of eternal life and serve as a blessing for their wonderful families and for our community. We will miss them both tremendously. Tonight's dinner marks the advent of the 99th year of the Yeshiva Beth Yehudah's extraordinary service to our community. We initiate this evening the first preparations for the Centennial anniversary of the Beth Yehudah schools, which will, with God's help, be celebrated in this room 1 year from now. To reflect upon what 100 years of service means, we must examine the effect the Yeshiva has had throughout its history. In this ballroom tonight, we have a representative sampling of the almost 900 children who are today attending our institution. We have virtually all of the 250 staff, principals, rabbeim, and teachers who are the current devoted and dedicated caretakers of this cherished institution. Simply multiply those numbers by 100 years and you can begin to fathom the exceptional impact the Yeshiva has had on Detroit and, in fact, on this great country of ours. Thousands of Yeshiva alumni are leaders, teachers, scientists, scholars, professionals, mothers and fathers who have taken their rightful places in over 150 communities here in Israel and throughout the world. They are, by and large, recognizable by their traits and conduct of kindness, devotion to family and community, loyalty to their people and to the cause of Torah, ethics, scholarship, citizenship, and patriotism. I could never say it as well as our rabbis did, so please allow me to share a few incredible words from the Talmud, found on page 23b in Tanis, which describes the story of that righteous and great man simply known as Choni Hamagal, who saw a neighbor planting a carob tree. Choni asked the man, "How long does it take for the carob tree to bear fruit?" 70 years, the man replied. "Do you think," Choni asked, "you will be alive in 70 years to benefit from those trees?" "Not likely," said the man. "I am simply doing what our forefathers did for me. When I came upon this land, I found completely grown carob trees providing fruit and shade for all who needed its benefits. So too today I am doing the same for those who will come after me and for those who will traverse this path into the future." 99 years ago, smart, devoted, Anshe Maisa, people of action, laid out a vision and planted trees which, as you can see with your own eyes tonight, have borne tremendous fruit and have provided canopy and shade for those who need it. Nobody in this room should think that what they are doing is any different. You individually and collectively are providing nourishment and sustenance to an entire generation of young people who will blossom into the beautiful carob trees of future generations. It is really no different than what Mrs. Ann Newman did by providing the wherewithal for thousands of children to have a spacious modern campus at which to go to school each and every day on Lincoln Road in Southfield. It is no different than what Marvin Berlin of blessed memory and what his wife Alice, she should live and be well to 120, continues to do through their historic generosity to the Yeshiva and our community. It is no different than what Milton Schiffman of blessed memory did and what his wife Lois and family continue to do through their generosity to the Yeshiva and all of the Detroit day schools through the Schiffman Tuition Fund. It is no different than Judge Avron Cohn and his wife Lois, who have been at the forefront of every major development for the Yeshiva Beth Yehudah for decades. It is no different than Mr. and Mrs. Ed Meir and their family, whose foundational gifts to the Yeshiva made a dramatic difference in the physical landscape of our institution. It is no different than what Conrad Giles, Dan Lepp, David Provost, Maury Ellenberg, Alan May, Nancy Grossfeld, Max Berlin, Fred Ferber, Peter Cummings, Gary Schiffman and Arthur Weiss, each chairpeople of this evening's dinner, do year in and year out help secure and ensure the future of the yeshiva. It is no different than the outstanding educational leadership which leads the Beth Yehudah schools today. Rabbis Yitzchak Grossbard, Aryeh Cohn, Zev Pash, Shlomo Newman, along with Mrs. Rubenfeld, Mrs. Landsman, Mrs. Schwartz, Mrs. Gendelman, Mrs. Goldberg, Mrs. Colbert, and Mrs. Cooper, who together with our devoted and dedicated Rebbes and teachers work each day to mold and guide the children of Beth Yehudah into the future, where they will, with God's help, take their rightful place in the leadership of the next generation. It is no different than the rabbinic leaders on our dais tonight, Rabbi Daniel Neustadt, chairman of the Council of Orthodox Rabbis, Rabbi Shmuel Irons, Rosh Kollel, and a member of the Beth Yehudah Educational Committee, Rabbi Zavi Cohn, Eli Meyerfeld, Shlomo Lokach, Benzi Schechter, and the over 50 rabbis who are in attendance this evening, each with a singular focus on the education and growth of the Jewish people. It is no different than our dynamic Federation executive, Scott Kaufman, and devoted Federation and Foundation presidents, Doug Bloom and Todd Saxe, and the hundreds of Federation leaders who provide critical sustenance to the day schools of our community. Their dream is our dream, to give our children the best secular and Jewish education, which helps guarantee the continuity and the vitality of the Jewish people for decades to come. It is no different than our good friend, past Federation executive Bob Aronson, a man of tremendous talents and vision who has used his power and prestige to encourage significant support for Beth Yehudah since his arrival in Detroit over 20 years ago. It is no different than the two devoted mayors of our home cities of Southfield and Oak Park here at our dais, Mayor Brenda Lawrence and Mayor Marion McClellan, who have proven time and again that the strength and well-being of educational institutions are critical components to the success of their cities. Berkeley Schools Superintendent Dennis McDavid at our dais tonight, thank you for your efforts to maintain high levels of education and scholarship in our neighboring community. It is no different than our Wayne and Oakland County leaders at our dais tonight, Oakland County Prosecutor Jessica Cooper, Treasurer Andy Meisner, Wayne County Executive Robert Ficano, and Sheriff Benny Napoleon. Our thanks to each of you for your service and your devotion to the citizens of Michigan. Your efforts to be on this dais year after year just for the benefit of our institution is tremendously appreciated. It is no different than the elevation of our newest federal judge, Terrence Berg, who graces our dais tonight. Judge Berg, now that you have ascended the bench, we know that you will continue to provide the wise counsel required of your lofty position. A warm welcome for the first time at our dais, Dr. M. Roy Wilson, the 12th president of the great urban citadel, Wayne State University. We wish you, Mr. President, great success in your new and important mission. At our dais, the finest chief judge of any federal court in our land, Judge Gerald Rosen, who devotes himself with personal sacrifice to community and country, encouraging a foundation of justice and fairness for all. Our devoted governor, the Honorable Rick Snyder, who uses every opportunity to underscore in deed and in action how vital it is to be a leader and a devoted public servant without any personal interest, simply to make a difference, and he does every day as governor of our great state. Thank you for your words tonight, Governor, and always being with us. To the esteemed members of the United States House of Representatives, Congressman Sander Levin, and Gary Peters, we are truly fortunate to be represented by such wonderful, dedicated, and devoted individuals. Thank you to each of you for your uplifted service and for being a part of the Yeshiva family. Our gratitude to Attorney General Bill Schuette, the leading lawyer in our state who devotes himself to the protection of the citizens of Michigan with a passion and a strong pursuit of justice. Mr. Attorney General, our students and faculty will be forever grateful for the day you spent touring our campuses, meeting our students, and viewing our institution in such a personal way. Our appreciation to one of America's great U.S. attorneys, Barbara McQuaid, who, while raising with her devoted husband 4 young and wonderful children, has proven, as she promised on the day she ascended her position, to be a leader who acts with strength, with dignity, and when appropriate, with compassion. What great fortune we have that Dan Lepp is leading our state's largest health insurer, Blue Cross and Blue Shield, and in that august role devotes himself to finding every way, in spite of the tremendous challenges that face our country today, to serve every individual who needs the protective umbrella that he and his staff provide to millions throughout our state. Thank you again for being our 2008 honoree and for your amazing and continued support. Our deepest thanks to the Honorable Mayor of Chicago, Rahm Emanuel. Mr. Emanuel, Mayor Emanuel, we are truly grateful for your efforts to be here tonight and to be an important part of our Yeshiva celebration. We know what a sacrifice it is to leave your home on a Sunday and come to Detroit. Please accept a heartfelt token of our gratitude for making such a tremendous effort to be here tonight. How fortunate we are to have two of the preeminent leaders of the United States Senate at our dais, Senator Carl Levin, who will undoubtedly be recognized as one of the most accomplished senators in United States history. And in spite of holding one of the highest offices in our land, has maintained an extraordinary level of modesty and concern for so many who are in need of his help, a demeanor rarely seen in an individual with such power and prestige. And to your colleague, Senator Debbie Stabenow. Senator Stabenow is that rare breed who is serving strictly and only for the greater good that she can bring to those she serves. Her heart, her compassion, her endless devotion to the strengthening of America and to the protection of its citizens is the raison d'etre for her service. I can say with full confidence that because of Senator Stabenow and the help she provides the Yeshiva, we are all attending tonight the largest Jewish dinner in America. Thank you. Finally, I have the immense privilege this evening of presenting the Golden Torah Award, the Yeshiva's highest honor, to one of our community's true pillars. Mandel Leslie Berman has distinguished himself as a singular American leader in philanthropy and in action. A cursory look at his biography, which is printed in your journal tonight, his stellar education, the myriad of local and national positions that he has held, including the local presidency of our federation and the international presidency of the Council of Jewish Federations, the awards that he has won and received, including last month, becoming a distinguished fellow of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, and the institutions and programs that he has built are truly stuff of legends. But there is much more to the story of Bill Berman. Mr. Berman, born in a very different America at a very different time, was raised by two wonderful and devoted Jews, Julius and Esther Berman. Bill's mother, Esther, a pious and religious woman, transmitted her strong Jewish beliefs to her loving and devoted son and encouraged Bill to make the Jewish people a critical focus in his life and in his dreams. Bill surely did his mother proud by devoting much of his adult life to dreaming and building the Detroit Jewish community and world Jewry. Bill's father, who commanded the Arcadia, Florida Air Base in World War I, taught his son about bravery and strength of character. Bill Berman followed in his father's footsteps by serving his country as a naval officer alongside a battalion of brave Marines in Okinawa during World War II. Bill utilized both his mother's encouragement and his father's strength by creating in 1947 an amazing effort of over 1,000 volunteers to ship massive freight containers to Europe filled with food and clothing to the lonely and the displaced survivors of the Holocaust. That project was just the beginning of a life dedicated to designing and encouraging in deed, in action, in public policy, and demography, to fostering the growth and the education and the necessary tools toward building a strong and vibrant Jewish future. In 1950, after graduating from Harvard University with honors, Bill married his loving and devoted wife, Madge, a perfect helpmate who encouraged Bill in every way to be a leader and a visionary. Mr. and Mrs. Berman raised two wonderful children, Dr. Jonathan Berman, who lives in Boulder, Colorado, and Ann Berman-Feld, who lives in New York. Madge and Bill are the proud grandparents of three beautiful grandchildren, Max, Julius, Lawrence, and Sarah. Bill Berman has served in nearly every leadership capacity in our Jewish community, and true to his devotion to Jewish education, served as the first chairman of the education division of our federation, when frankly it was not popular to stand up and proclaim Jewish education as the critical community priority. From that early service and throughout his career, Bill has been at the forefront of nurturing and energizing the critical day school movement. Yet with all of Bill Berman's greatness, his lofty leadership positions, and his philanthropic grandeur, He is and has always been accessible to anyone who needs him, with a door wide open and a smile and a warmth to greet every request. Bill has used the blessings that the Almighty has given him to ensure that his community and his people will remain vibrant, strong, and committed to the ideals and eternal values of our Jewish heritage. Therefore, tonight we are proud to add the name Mandel Bill Berman to the formal annals of the sacred history of our yeshiva as he receives the Golden Torah Award. Yes, his generosity, his devotion to the yeshiva, and his over 50 years of support have made him a true guardian of the children of our yeshiva and our community. May you, our dear and special friend, Mandel Bill Berman, merit to continue planting many orchards of carob trees until 120, as you will surely be forever honored as a visionary who supports Torah, Torah causes, and the Jewish people far beyond our own generations. It is therefore my privilege and honor to present the 2013 Golden Torah Award to Menachem Mendel Ben Eliyahu, Mr. Mandel Berman.